Hi guys, in this tutorial I'll be installing Ionic and we'll create our very first Ionic 2 application. It's pretty easy and straightforward. It's got only 5 steps. We first install Homebrew, which basically assists us in installing the NPM, the node package manager, and then we install the Ionic with the NPM. Once we have the Ionic installed, we create an Ionic app through a basic template. And then we finally run that Ionic app. Now, the very first step is to install the Homebrew. Please note that Homebrew only works on Mac. If you're a Windows user, you need to install the Node Package Manager by some other means, and the rest of the tutorial should remain the same. So I'll just copy this first command and I'll paste it in my terminal. It will tell us that it's going to install these packages, plus return to continue. This will install the Homebrew. Once Homebrew is installed, we need to run this command brew install node. This will install node and node package manager, which will then be used to install Ionic. As you can see, the Homebrew has been installed successfully. Now we'll install the node. This command will install node, and once node is installed, we need to move to step 3 to install Ionic. The command says npm install -g Ionic Cordova. The node has been installed successfully. Now we will install Ionic by this command. This is a little bit time-consuming process. However, once done, we can then run this command to create our very first Ionic 2 app. Let's name Ionic 2 here. We create an Ionic 2 app by this command sudo ionic start and then your project name, whatever it be. And this v2 defines Ionic 2. If you would like to use Ionic 1, you can simply remove this and you will have Ionic 1 installed on your machine then. For the sake of this tutorial, we'll keep it v2. In the meantime, I'd like to walk you guys through the Ionic documentation, which is pretty handy when you're when you're actually developing an Ionic app. It's got resources to pretty much everything that you will encounter in the course of your development. The introduction section contains the installation instructions, the same as we are following at the moment. They have got their own tutorial. It's very useful. I actually followed all of it. It's very handy. It teaches you a lot in terms of starting to program with Ionic. They've got instructions to deploy your app on Android and iOS devices. They've got various components that you can use in your app, which includes alerts, badges, buttons, cards, and they've got code snippets for all of them. They have made it really easy for us to embed this in our application. You just need to copy this code snippet and just paste it in your application and it should be good to go. And on the right hand side, you can also see the preview of all the things that they are explaining in this documentation. As you can see, this is an example of cards. If you want to display some information or some output in your application, you can use cards. There are different kinds of there's different kinds of cards. You can use radio buttons, popover, navigation, modals, menu, whatever you want. Then they have got some instructions around APIs. There's a whole lot of stuff in this section. Then you can have storage, theming, and different options. So bookmark this thing and you'll always find it useful. Now let's see if we have Ionic installed. Yep, so we have Ionic installed on our machine. Now we are ready to create our very first Ionic 2 application through this command. I'll just copy this and paste it over here and press enter. This will download the files that are required to run an Ionic 2 app with a basic template called tabs template. As you can see, it says here creating an Ionic 2.x app in this based on the tabs template. There are different templates that you can define at the time of installation, and this template is basically very simple and the default template of Ionic 2 application. We'll see it fairly quickly once the installation finishes. Once the Ionic app has finished downloading, we can run that Ionic app through this command. It says sudo ionic serve. So this is what we use to run our Ionic application in the local browser. I'll copy all of these steps in the video description below so you can refer to them. Now, in order to run this command, you need to be inside the project directory. You cannot run it from outside the project directory. So as you can see that it has finished installing the Ionic 2 skeleton app, and now we need to get into the directory. So the directory name is going to be the same as the project name that we chose at the time of creating the app. So as you can see, it says Ionic start InfiniteTechnologies. This is the name of the project. You can name it anything, and we'll get into this folder, and then we'll run the command sudo ionic serve. This will do some bootstrapping and will load our application in the default browser, and that is going to be our mobile app. That's how it's going to look in your phone, whether it's an Android phone or an iOS. You can always modify the text, the default buttons, and everything. You can pretty much transform how the default application looks. We'll see it really quickly. It's there. There you go. So you have your first Ionic 2 app up and running. It's got 3 pages: the home page, the about page, and the contact page. And you can view these pages by clicking on these links. It's got some default text here. You can change this text, add your buttons, cards. Always refer to the Ionic documentation if you get stuck anywhere. And that's it. Congratulations.